to set up your home and family for business success. Hello, my name's Anna Lagrange and I am one half of Baba Business, the Birth and Baby Business Academy, which is a community membership for birth and baby business owners who want to turn their passion into profit.
This is something I think is really important for birth and baby business owners to consider. Because I think when you work for yourself and a lot of your kind of work in the background, like your admin work, etc., can be very much home-based, it's so easy to get distracted, isn't it? And it's so easy to end up doing other things like, cleaning or tidying or putting a wash on or getting stuck into Love Island, catching up on Love Island.
Things like really going there now, yeah.
Not talking about myself, my own habits, but just sometimes it can be hard to stay focused. So I think that's what this podcast is really about, is really kind of setting yourself up to, as a birth or baby business owner, to really make the most of the time that you've got in the surroundings that you have. So what would you say is like your biggest and most important thing to consider when approaching this?
Yeah, I mean, we harp on about planning all the time. If we're thinking about how you set up your home when you plan, because it's all very well to say, I'm going to plan this, these are the tasks I've got to do this week, but you have to take a step really, and you have to really protect your work time. And we're often saying have a CEO mindset and come out of the 9 to 5 thinking, but with this particular thing, I actually think you need to have a little bit of 9 to 5 mindset, because if you were heading out the door to head off for work, you would do your washing the night before, or you would have done it at the weekend, or like we had a rule, we still have a rule in our house, except for right now I'm not there, so I don't know what's happening. But when I am at home, we always have the washing done on a Sunday, and we have the food shop done over the weekend. It's not how we choose to spend our weekend, but we are working people, and I know that if the washing is not done and the school uniform isn't ready and everything for the whole week, then I will end up doing it on a Monday or Tuesday. Same with a food shop. So that is a rule that I think originally when I first started working for myself, my husband really struggled to understand it, because he was like, well, why don't you do that when you're at home? And that's the problem. That is the problem. Like, why do these household tasks have to kind of fall into our weekend when you're at home anyway? And that's when I had to sort of, want a better word, train him to be like, no, I'm not at home. I may be physically at home, but I am, I'm working. And actually, he's also someone who works from home, and he is extremely boundaried about his working hours. So, it's about communication, but it's also about, this stuff we talk about, prioritizing your business, being a CEO of your business, like being the boss and saying, no, this is protected work time. And around that has to come some household and family planning. Otherwise, before you know it, like you said, you're doing the washing up, you're I don't know, heading off for coffee with your friends who don't work and all that stuff. Yeah. And the thing is, we've talked about this on a different podcast, can't remember the name, but where we do make up excuses to not work in our business, especially when we've got stuff that feels uncomfortable and, things that we would, we're procrastinating. So we can use those household chores to procrastinate. So it's really important that you're kind of really strict with yourself and you plan it, and you know that for this chunk of this time you are working on your business and nothing else.
Definitely. And I think coming back to your partner, you're talking about Paul there, and I can resonate with that as well. And something that we've done in my household to help kind of, establish that routine and that kind of belief that I am working to is that we plan out our week together. So it's something that we do on a Sunday, and we just sit down. We've got one of those planners that's got the days of the week, including the weekend, on them, just one piece of paper, and my husband will write down, when he's actually in work. So he goes into the office a couple of times a week, and the rest of the time he's at home. So we know who's doing the school run, and because we've got one car, so if he's going into work, he's taking it. He knows what evenings that I'm working as well. So he knows like when he's doing bedtime, when I'm doing bedtime with our youngest. We also build in like when the kids have got activities. So it's all quite structured. And so he knows as well, like he's in the habit of asking me now. So what does your week look like? Like, what does your day look like on Wednesday? Like, do you need the car? If I go into the office on Wednesday, will you be all right? Or are you going to meet someone? Or are you doing something? So we've got into that flow where we're kind of, you know, he fully believes now that this is, and has done for years, that this is like a proper business and it needs to be prioritized. And he also understands the additional pressures that I'm under, because I'm responsible for earning the money that I contribute to our household, whereas you know, he's employed, so that money comes to him whatever the weather. So he's very good at now kind of saying, you know, I understand it's really hard for you to switch off, and what is also good about that is that he also says to me, you really need to put your phone down now, Liz. You really need to just like put it away, switch off. And I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, thanks. Because I think sometimes as you can go too far the other way, can't you? You can be like maybe too relaxed and not prioritizing it. And then you can be a little bit obsessed about it. So it's about finding that balance and making sure that everybody in the home who lives with you knows that, you know, mummy or wife or partner isn't just at home all day every day. I had my daughter yesterday, she has Wednesdays off college, and she said yesterday, Mum, should we just spend all day together tomorrow? And I was like, well, that would be lovely, but I'm actually working. Like, do you remember that Mum works? And she's like, can't you just take Wednesday off? I'm like, no, I can't, because that's just not how it works. If I was in an office, I couldn't just go, yeah, or my daughter's off on a Wednesday. Here, you know, I'm off for the day.
Tugs at your heartstrings though, doesn't it, when they're getting older? Because you think, oh, you want to, when they come take a step towards you to spend time with you, you don't really want to say no. But you're absolutely right. We have to be bounded around our businesses, and just, I think it's so good. I mean, the stuff that we both negotiate with our partners is stuff like bedtimes as well, even bedtimes, because we quite often do evening teaching and stuff. So we work it around whether it's our turn to do bedtime or not. You know, really just every single part. I think what was coming to me when you're talking was really that as women, we really take on certain roles, and it can be really hard to shed those roles, or at least, you know, ask for some help with them. We often have this idea that we need to do all of the household stuff, that we need to, and the research backs this up. The research backs this up, that even though women are, in many households, working the same number of hours as their male partners, that they are actually still doing a majority of the household chores and the thinking, you know, all of that kind of
the
stuff.
Emotional load, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, the emotional load and all of that. And I'm not saying that in my household it's even, you know, distributed. Well, fair is not the right word, because I feel extremely lucky that I have flexibility that my husband doesn't have in his job. I can be flexible. I can work in the evening. So that I can take the kids to school, for example, or I can plan to take an afternoon off to go and watch my kids play. You know, I can do that, but I just think it can be very easy to spend so much of your time doing that your business doesn't get the time that it needs and deserves to be a success. So it's all around communication, isn't it? But absolutely, if someone was saying, well, I feel like that's my job or I should do that stuff, I really challenge them that actually you're not going to be able to run a business if that's how you feel. You've got to get support. And equally, if you don't have a partner as well, I mean, I think, you know, you've got to be realistic. And I've worked with people who homeschool as well and have their kids around all day and perhaps are single parents, and you have got to get serious about what you can and can't do with the kids around, and about getting in help and support if you don't have a partner that you can ask for that for. So the same thing goes, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you and I are both quite passionate about this topic of women in particular, you know, having to do the majority of like the household stuff or the parenting or the emotional load. Like I don't know whether to say the word lucky, because I just think it's the way it should be, but I do have a very 50-50 relationship when it comes to to those kind of things. And so the mind boggles when I see that people don't have that in their lives. I just find that it's very, very unfair, and it can impact the success of a business as well if you don't have a partner who is understanding, who wants you to put your business above cleaning the house and putting the laundry on, etc. I'm not saying putting it above the children, because that's a totally different matter. But anyway, we could go down a complete rabbit hole.
I think that's another episode, isn't it? Because I think there's a lot to talk about with that. Yeah.
It is. It is definitely another episode. But getting back into this, I think that having and I'm going to sound so hypocritical here because you know the truth, but having a dedicated space to work from is really, really important. And this is something, like, we're not perfect. We come at this being as authentic as we possibly can. I really, really struggle with this. I do not have a dedicated workspace. Since the pandemic, when my husband decided that he was mainly working from home, he sort of took over my desk. And the reason he did is because he has to have like lots of Zoom calls with lots of important people, and he needs a quiet space. So I, had to kind of hand that over to him. But yeah, I really could do with a dedicated space. I just kind of move around the house with a little box file and my laptop. So if you can have a space, I really, really would recommend it. I'm so jealous of people that have a space.
Yeah, having a space is important to me. I don't have a space anymore in South Africa because I'm in England part of the time. My husband has taken over my office, which was a toilet. We converted it because it's a very open plan house, and we were both working from home. So I got the converted toilet, and he had the garage. But the garage was a horrible space for him. So now he's in my toilet, and when I'm in South Africa, I am doing exactly what you do, and just kind of moving around between the balcony, basically, which is a gorgeous place to work, and the dining room, and then sometimes my bedroom. So yeah, it makes a big difference. I personally am a visual person, so I like to be able to have things on the wall, reminders. Having said that, I don't have anything in here. I do have a study here in the UK at the moment. Yeah. And it makes a big difference if you're doing like online teaching, if you're having, calls with people, sales calls, or I think mainly the online teaching for our birth and baby business owners that we work with is really key, and that can be challenging. And then I think we should talk a little bit about the holidays, because you can have all this set up in term time, can't you? But what about when it's the school holidays, and everything just goes out the window? You've got to put in some planning around that, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Summer holidays can be an absolute derailer for a business. Like, you can be going great guns, be really organised, and then, the summer holidays hit you and everything can fall by the wayside. So I would really encourage people, like even now, even like towards the end of February, that you start thinking, what can I do to ensure that I still get decent working time in the holidays. And like, again, I understand my husband is employed, so he can't just take loads of time off and have the kids, but he is home based most of the time, so we do a lot of tag teaming during the holidays. And now I have teenagers and one younger child, so it's not as intensive as it was when they were like toddlers and babies. But it still does take some planning, because I also won't allow my kids to sit around endlessly playing on Xbox. There is a lot of Xbox playing, let's just face it, but I like them to have a bit of a balance as well. So even thinking right from this point here, is there a way that you could, in the summer holidays, that you could have a few hours in the morning, even if that means that children are on screens or playing together or doing whatever they do that enables them to be engaged, whilst you get a few hours work early in the morning. I know that works quite well in my household. And then in the afternoon you have like focus time with your child. Like, again, like, if that works for you, you've got to find the right thing for you. And sometimes it's a bit of trial and error, like trying things out and
Yeah.
seeing if they work or not.
Yeah, I've always done that since I started the mindful breastfeeding school. In the holidays, my kids are allowed to get up and go straight on their gadgets. And I get up and I start work early. Look, it's really nice not to have the school run and all that kind of stuff. And oh, wouldn't it be lovely to lie in bed? But actually, for my business, I get up. I'm not talking crazy times like 5 a.m. or anything, but I get up and I try to get up and be working by about 7, 8 at the latest, and then get a chunk of work in, so that then I can let it go and enjoy my day. Because what I find, if I'm trying to do bits and pieces around them and with them, I'm never really present with them. I'm never really present with my work either. So I'm trying to kind of make sure that, again, blocking time that's for them, and time that is for, for my work, and explaining to them that that's the case. Look, sometimes something happens, and we had a chat with one of our clients the other day, didn't we? And we were talking about what's the most common thing that our kids always ask for. Well, even at their older age now, it's snacks, isn't it? It's like, oh, Mum, I really want this for breakfast. I really want that for breakfast. And we talked about setting up a snack station for your kids, so that they've got, perhaps like in the night before, put all the breakfast things on the table, so that they can just literally come and help themselves. And kids of even quite a young age can do that. I mean, my kids have been in Montessori, so they, Montessori is big about, making your own snacks and things. So it might be a little bit of kind of letting go, perhaps, if that's something that feels uncomfortable to you, is starting to teach your kids how they can make themselves a basic snack, how they can get themselves a yogurt, how they can, pour themselves a bowl of cereal. And perhaps you don't want the big jug of milk, but maybe you need a little jug so they can pour some milk out without it going everywhere. And we can't, there's occasionally there's going to be things when they need us. And obviously we want to be flexible. We want to be there for them when they do. But there's a lot we can do to set up for success in the holidays. The other thing is to perhaps, again, discuss with your partner. Like I used to say to Paul, can you take a week of your annual leave during the holidays, and I can really just spend a week working on my business full time? Obviously, our annual leave, we want it to be for family time as well. But I realised after a while, that actually any free time that I had was taken up with the kids. It wasn't doing family stuff. It was doing the activities after school and taking them to different things. And I thought, actually, he could spend some of his annual leave doing that as well. So a few summer holidays we did that, where he would take a week to just be with the kids, and I would really try and work that week. That really worked for us. And also calling in help of other people. Who else is around? Maybe you've got family members who they can't help you every single week, but perhaps in the holidays they could. I know people whose kids happily go and stay with grandparents who are happy to have kids. Just even an hour or two would make a difference, wouldn't it?
It really does,
so it's just thinking outside the box. What have I actually got available to you? And most of the time, family members actually love to be asked. Especially if you don't ask them very often. I know that my husband's family is like that. We don't ask them for a huge amount of help, but when I'm away and my mother-in-law is able to really help out with the family, she absolutely loves it, and she's so happy to be asked.
That's really sweet. Yeah, definitely reaching out and asking for help, even if that feels uncomfortable to you, is important. And then the other thing, which I feel is really important, especially in the summer holidays and around those times when things get extra busy, so you've got extra responsibilities with kids being there all the time, is your own self-care. So not making sure that that's not slipping as well. And I know it sounds like we've got so much to balance, but actually however you want to label it, self-care or wellness, or however you prefer to term it, that should be part of your business. Because as a self-employed person, as somebody running a business, you are absolutely key to the success of that business. So if you aren't taking care of yourself, if you're not as healthy in mind, body and soul as you can be, that will have a knock-on effect on your productivity, on your creativity, and it also has a knock-on effect on your family life as well. So self-care should be prioritized as much as possible, and sometimes it really doesn't take that much just to keep kind of topping up on your self-care levels. So it can be like I like to do 10 minutes yoga a day, and I really like to get out in the fresh air every day. I mean, you can also do that with your kids when you're on summer holidays. That counts as well. You're still getting out in the fresh air and enjoying a change of environment as well. But other things like journaling, meditation, tapping, we love a bit of EFT at the Babin membership. All of those sorts of things. And you might be listening to this and thinking, oh, I love going for a run. Like for me, that's the opposite of self-care. But for somebody else, that might be the thing. So really try to remember to keep those things up as often as possible, but definitely through the summer holidays as well.
Yeah, something I always do in the summer holidays is I book myself a spa day, always, without fail, towards the end, when I'm absolutely, it just gives me something to look forward to for that quite relentless 6 weeks of summer. It's actually more like 7. It's different in South Africa because we always go away. So, but I know when we were in the UK, we wouldn't always go away over summer holidays, and often by the end of it, I was like actually losing my mind. So I was just to book myself a day off, ideally with a friend. And the other thing is setting yourself up for success with the self-care. So like if a run is your thing, I love a run, had my first run in ages the other day, it was really nice. It's like having your stuff out. So the night before, put your running clothes out by your bed so you just get them on and go out the door when the time comes, if you can do that. I mean, some of us, we're stuck in the summer holidays, we can't get outside on our own, unfortunately. So even if it's something like, making yourself something nice in the morning, like a smoothie, or and you have to plan that. You have to plan to buy the ingredients so that you've got it ready in the house, and perhaps you've got to freeze your fruit or whatever it is you need to do. Like setting yourself up so that you can put these lovely rituals in and build them up slowly, so that you're doing some nice things to yourself when you're needed. And that goes, for whether it's the summer holidays or not. Prioritizing. I mean, when I was doing planning with the Mindful Breastfeeding School, I say to them, get your calendar, put in your family things first that you have to do, then put in your self-care, and then after that you build in your business tasks on top of that. And I think that's the right order to do things in.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Right. Well, I hope that people found some of that information useful to help them set up their home and family for business success. We would love it if you would drop us a comment, a follow, a like, if you're listening on a podcast or watching on YouTube. And we'd also love you to review the podcast if you can as well. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we will be back next week with another episode.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.